What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Sticks and Stones podcast. Also, I am videoing this one for YouTube, so for those of you that are watching on YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for being here. Yeah, this topic is kind of broad, and it's one that I feel like a lot of people can relate to, whether you're on YouTube or my podcast, Facebook, I don't know, Instagram, wherever you're at. This is something you can take from this, I'm hoping. So yeah, that's why I wanted to kind of kill two birds with one stone with this video and podcast. I want to talk about this topic and reach as many people as I possibly can with it. So with that being said, I'm going to intro you guys into it. We are talking about toxic relationships or toxic people in general, the qualities of them, the early signs, what you can notice in order to decide for yourself whether or not you're involved in a toxic relationship. Usually you'll know, but those of you that don't, if any of these signs are in your significant other, ding, 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 you may be involved in a toxic relationship. So anyways, I haven't really had many personal experiences in toxic relationships. I haven't been in many relationships. Kind of a loser. Not really. I really cannot I don't know. I'm not good in relationships. You could say that I'm a little bit toxic. I am. I'm pretty sensitive, and I think that's a really toxic quality at times is being sensitive, and I'm not good at taking criticism. I'm quick to get angry. I get very upset very quickly. So I want you guys to know that going into this. So those of you that know me aren't like, oh my gosh, she's talking about this like she's not toxic. Yes, I do have toxic tendencies. I will start by stating that on the record. So anyways, so the podcast before last, we talked about being in abusive relationships. I had Tabitha Brown on here. She shared her story kind of with her ex-husband and things that happened. And I think this is a more broader way to describe it, because not all toxic relationships have physical abuse. But being in an abusive relationship doesn't necessarily mean you're getting beaten. It means that you could be getting verbally abused and controlled or manipulated, and all of that. The big explanation for all of that is being in a toxic relationship. Okay, so I also want to I want to say this too. It doesn't, it's not always a certain person that makes a relationship toxic. Sometimes you can literally just take two individuals and put them in a relationship, and it could be toxic. Not for one reason or the other, just because their personalities clash, if that makes sense. But if you were to pull those two people out of a relationship and put them in a relationship with other people, those relationships might be perfect. Because their personalities mesh better together. Because personalities, the type of people, it does make a difference when in a relationship. So I just want to throw that out there. It's not always a certain person that's toxic, but in most cases it usually is, but not always. So I'm just going to dive right on into this. I feel like this is a very, like I said, it's a very broad topic, so there's a lot to cover. But I'm not going to cover everything, obviously, because there's so much to cover. But I'm going to cover the high points. And in my experiences with witnessing toxic relationships or getting involved with people who are kind of toxic, or myself, tendencies that I have, there's one quality that I feel like can sum up a toxic person, just in one word. And that word is a narcissist. And those of you that don't know what a narcissist is, I'm going to tell you. Because you might be dating one, or married to one, or about to get involved with one. So you need to know their tendencies before, or you need to recognize the tendencies by hearing what I have to say. Okay. When dating or seeing or marrying a narcissist, there's a constant need for admiration from the other person. So the narcissist needs to constantly feel like they are loved. They're needy. I can relate. They just constantly need to feel that sense of security, I guess, knowing that you love them, knowing that they're adored, and it's just a constant need for that, which can get annoying and can be a little bit of an inconvenience if you do slack in that department, and giving them the necessary admiration that they want and crave can cause conflict in the relationship because they feel like, okay, you don't love me like I deserve to be loved. That causes a fight. Next thing you know, they're packing up the bags and heading to Canada. No, I mean, probably not, but whatever. It's just a constant need of admiration. So you're constantly feeling like you have to baby them kind of and make them feel loved. And that's definitely not how a relationship should go. I mean, they should feel loved in a relationship, obviously. There's a happy medium there where it's not unhealthy, but when it gets to a certain point, it reaches unhealthy and becomes toxic. They are manipulative. Boom, that is a huge one. Basically what it means to be manipulative is a person is used for the benefit of the other. So in a relationship sense, the person is using you to benefit themselves. The manipulator deliberately creates an imbalance of power and exploits the victim to serve their agenda. In this case, they would know your weaknesses, know what points to hit and when to hit them. So if they want to get their way, they can always do that. A very manipulative personality, obviously, can get away with pretty much anything, can do and get anything they want to do, because if they are titled as a narcissist, usually they're good enough at manipulating to get what they want to get. So yeah, I feel like that is a huge one to look for. If you know anyone or seeing anyone, or even in a friendship with someone who manipulates you, there's your red flag. It's easier said than done when I say get out, because I've been there. You know, it's kind of trapping, which is another manipulative thing. A lot of times when they're manipulating you, they can actually manipulate you to stay in the relationship. Like, they treat you like crap and like just shit on you all the time. And then when it comes down to you getting the courage up to leave, they're calling you sweet names. They're buying you flowers. They're buying you candy. They're doing all these sweet, sweet things that they should have been doing all along. But why they're doing them now is because you got the courage up to leave and they don't want you to leave. That is a form of manipulation, and you need to pack your bags and get on to Canada. You know what I mean? I don't know why I keep saying Canada. Don't go to Canada. There's no need for that. Just leave the relationship. I know it's easier said than done, but don't let the sweet gestures towards the end when you get the courage up sway your opinion. If they wanted to keep you all along, you would never have to threaten to leave. You know what I mean? You would, if they would have done the sweet gestures all the time, if they would have been kind, if they would have treated you with respect and as an equal in the relationship, you would have never felt the urge to leave them and end the relationship. So with that being said, don't let the sweet gestures towards the end sway whether or not you leave or not. Because once again, that is just their way of trapping you there and manipulating you into staying with them. Oftentimes, narcissists are very arrogant, very demanding. They're just very, like, hateful individuals, I guess you could say. They kind of make your life miserable in a way. So you need to watch out for that. But yeah, being a narcissist is definitely, I think, one of the biggest qualities to look for in a toxic person. Because underneath a narcissist is just so many characteristics. It's like, if you just ever, I didn't even cover all of them. If you watch this and you want to like dig deep into like what actually defines a narcissist, just Google it and click on as many web pages as you can find. Your definitions are going to be right there in fine print, and it literally will throw up a million red flags if you think you're dating someone who's a narcissist. I'm not kidding. So with that being said, going on to the next one, toxic people are usually controlling. They usually they control your every move. They make you feel bad for wanting to do certain things. They always make you very like, I don't know if the word sketched out, like the word sketched out is like the best way to explain it, but they literally try to control your every move. They want to know where you're at all times. They want to know who you're with at all times. And that's fine in a relationship. Like, you know, if I'm dating someone, I'm like, where are you at? What are you doing? You know, like, show interest in what they're doing, but not in a crazy way. Like, why are you out with them? Why are you going there? Are you going to drink too much and are you going to, you know, whatever? Like, people that are controlling usually don't have a sense of trust in the person they're seeing. And that's toxic. I feel like every great relationship starts on a foundation of trust. And if you can't have that trust in another individual, then why are you being with them? Because if you can't trust them, there's no point in getting involved with them, because it's going to be miserable from the start. They're going to go out with their friends. They're going to go places without you. And if you can't trust that they're doing the right thing and doing right by you and not cheating and not, you know, disrespecting you, then you should not be with that person. And usually someone that's toxic is super controlling, and usually that trust factor is not there, which is a red flag. There's a lot of emotional abuse. We've already covered the physical abuse with Tabitha, but a lot of times people feel like when they hear abuse, they think of physical abuse and someone beating on someone else, and that's not always the case. There's a lot of emotional abuse. I know I've been verbally abused a lot in my life. I've been called horrible names. It's kind of, I was bullied really bad in high school. Most of you guys know that are watching this video or have heard my podcast. My story is what got a lot of you guys here. So, I was called horrible names in high school, and in the end that led to me trying to commit suicide. And the same goes for relationships, you know. Toxic people will say horrible things and make people feel so crappy about themselves. They'll call them names. They'll just make them feel 2 feet tall all the time, like just constantly downing them. And the sad part about it is a lot of times the other person will start believing them. Because when you're dating someone and married to someone or just romantically involved with somebody, usually you're spending a lot of your time with that person. And when you're constantly spending time with that person and all you hear from them is negative things about you, like you're not pretty, you're not worthy, you're trash, you know, those kind of comments, if you keep hearing that over and over again repetitively, you're going to start believing that, because that's constantly what's going to be in your ear. And this goes back to being a narcissist, but a lot of times those kinds of people that are telling you these things and they're dating you are telling you these things, so your self-esteem goes from here to here. And when it goes to here, you think that person is the only person in this world that you deserve. You think you deserve to be treated like that. You deserve to be talked to like that. And you fall into a rhythm and a belief of thinking that this is the kind of relationship you deserve. And I want to tell you something, it is not what you deserve at all. Every single person deserves to be loved and respected. And if you're not getting that kind of level of feeling in your relationship, it is undeserving of you. Fact. So they usually do that and say those things so you don't want to leave them. Usually because they feel threatened and feel like they're unworthy of you. And their way of making you feel like you're not unworthy of them is making you feel this small. Those on the podcast cannot see my fingers were about an inch apart, meaning that, they just make you feel really small and really crappy about yourself, and that is how they keep you locked in. Oftentimes in a toxic relationship, cheating is involved. Actually, I don't know. I wouldn't say oftentimes. I would say more times than not, maybe. Because usually a toxic person just doesn't give a crap, honestly. I hate cheaters. I really, really do. I hate them a lot. And I just think you got to be some kind of low individual to do that to a person. And I've never been cheated on, thankfully. But I've had friends that have, and I've watched them cry themselves to sleep, or I've been on the phone with them as they cry themselves to sleep. And it hurt my heart so freaking bad. It felt like I was the one experiencing the heartache, because that's what you do when you're friends with somebody. You go through what they go through with them. And I can't imagine going through it. And I couldn't imagine putting someone through it. And if you're with someone that has cheated on you or is cheating on you, I'm a firm believer that once a cheater, always a cheater. And this goes back to the narcissistic quality, but a lot of times when they're cheating, they will turn that around on you. How I've witnessed that is they will tell you that you're not giving them enough attention. They'll tell you that, something like, you didn't come home for 2 nights because you had to work late, and I had needs. I didn't feel loved in the way I deserved to feel loved, and so I strayed in our relationship. I cheated on you. They'll turn their fault into your fault. I've witnessed that myself, and it's a horrible quality. And people that are narcissistic do not take blame for anything. They turn the blame on other people. So yeah, I just firm believer that once a cheater, always a cheater. I know I've already said that, but it's so important. I do believe that people can change their ways. But cheating is not something you should compromise with. You should not settle for being with someone who cheats, because there is never a time when any person deserves to be cheated on. Ever. I don't care what the circumstances are. It's just not okay. People that are toxic are liars. And I'm guilty of that. I lie about stupid things all the time, which is a toxic quality. People who lie just to lie. Toxic. Like, you could be standing outside and they could be like, "It's a beautiful green sky we got today." The sky is clearly blue, but they will lie and tell you the sky is green, even though it's not. It's just stuff like that. It's just so stupid and so easily proven to be a lie, but they're going to lie about it. And there's no reasonings to lie about it. That's just the kind of personality they have. They feel like they constantly have to be lying about something. And they're going to lie about something stupid, like what color the sky is. They're for sure going to lie about the big things, about cheating, about going out with, who they're going out with, where they're going to, where they're at, there's seriously so many other things they can lie about that are so much bigger. And if they're willing to lie about small things, they're going to be willing to lie about the big things too. And that is a huge red flag. So yeah, this basically sums up like qualities in a toxic relationship, for the most part, from my perspective. Of course, there's so much more out there, but if you see any of these qualities or red flags in the person you're trying to see or the person you're married to or whatever, let this be a sign to you. I know it's easier said than done that you need to be getting out of toxic relationships, but you are deserving of so much more, and I hope you guys can recognize that. But yeah, I look forward to hearing back from you guys about this podcast and YouTube video. For you guys watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow all the social media links in the description below. And people listening to the podcast, don't forget to share it and listen to it. It is available on Podbean for you guys that have Androids, and it is available on Apple Podcasts for those of you guys that are listening on Apple devices. So once again, thank you guys so much. God bless. I hope you guys have a great week.